setting new standards in podcast excellence. You have joined the WBT, fully focused on business and taxes. Here is your host, Michael Lodge.
And welcome to the WBT. I'm glad that you've joined me this fine day. I am producing this in South Carolina, and we have a little bit of clouds this morning. We have some chances of rain, but my lawn needs it, so I'm not going to complain about it. But it's a beautiful day here, and it's probably going to be about 80-some degrees, a little humidity. Well, not a little, a lot of humidity. But that's part of living in South Carolina. So the subject matter this morning is history has not changed when it comes to taxes. And it hasn't changed since the Roman times when they hired Jewish tax collectors. In biblical times, Romans hired Jewish tax collectors to collect the taxes from the Jews. And everything was taxed. There was the poll tax, which every person from age 12 through 65 had to pay, simply for the privilege of living. Then they had the ground tax, a tenth of grain and a fifth of wine and oil. Then they had income tax, 1% on their income. Taxes to use roads, harbors, and markets. A tax payable on every wheel of every cart you used, and on every animal that pulled that cart. And then there was the purchase tax on everything you bought. And if that wasn't infuriating enough, a tax collector could see you walking down the road, stop you and demand you open your suitcase and tax everything again. So tax collectors were as hated, if not more, than robbers and murderers. That's how bad they were looked at. But it's even more theological than that. The Jews were looking for a day when God would defeat the Romans and reestablish his kingdom. Now think of this. The Pharisees looked at tax collectors as almost unclean. They didn't allow them to worship in the synagogues, or all their own clothing to touch a tax collector. They would never let their clothing touch a tax collector. I mean, it's amazing, right? Now, let's look at all the taxes we as Americans are being taxed on. Yes, we have sales and use tax on everything we purchase. We are taxed on our cars that we drive. We have a very high personal income tax. We pay taxes every time we fly or take a vacation on a ship, import taxes. Let's face it, taxation has not changed one bit. We are taxed on everything we do. All of these taxes are passed by politicians. They are the new tax-generating organization. Politicians keep raising taxes, and they have become the very people who we should hold accountable. Nothing has changed from Bible times. We are taxed to high heaven. Congress, the very people who create taxes, are now talking about tax reform. However, if it will happen, I'll be surprised. I really will. And the answer is it probably will not happen. Or they might lower tax rates, and that is about it, because they know they can raise them at any time they want to. But politically, when they lower tax rates, they feel they are God's gift to the American people. I lowered your taxes, so I am wonderful. But it's not so, is it? Because what they giveth, they taketh away. Fact of life in politics and taxes. Real reform means to make the tax reporting simplified. Tax rates spread fairly across the wage earners. No deductions where members of Congress are tied to lobbyists, because lobbyists tie every one of those deductions. They are tied to every one deduction. Mortgage interest deduction, mortgage company lobbyists, tied to making sure that stays there. And those lobbyists are tied to Congress people who donate heavily to congressional races. Remember, every deduction you put on your tax return is subject to audit by the IRS. Eliminate the deductions, and you eliminate the need for the IRS to audit. And you eliminate thousands of pages of tax code. As we look at what happened in Roman times regarding taxation, nothing has changed. We still have politicians in charge creating new and higher taxes. So, don't you think that we need a little bit of change? It's been going on too long. Yes, we need some taxes to keep the federal government running and to keep local governments running. But they have to be held responsible for how they spend those taxes. We understand that costs go up. But when you mismanage tax funds, when you spend things on wasteful projects, we have to hold those politicians accountable for that. So nothing has changed. We still have taxes, except we have politicians that love taxes. I feel sorry for people in California because California politicians, they want every single tax dollar out of you. They just raised their gasoline taxes. And they already started spending that gasoline tax not on infrastructure, but on other projects that they have. Because what they do is they rob, they steal from the tax funds and pay for other things. So the potholes go unchanged. They're still there. They're still popping tires. I remember one time living in Los Angeles. In one single month, I popped all 4 tires on potholes because no infrastructure is being done. The tax dollars are wasted. So we have to hold our politicians accountable. So I'm going to end this right now, and let's just all agree on this. Nothing has changed. But we can change the issue where we need to hold our politicians accountable. And it needs to start right now. This is Mike Lodge for the WBT. I will talk with you soon.
This is brought to you by Lodge & Co., a business and tax advisory firm where your success is our goal. Call us today toll-free at 888-681-1518 or visit us at www.lodge-co.com and learn more about what we can do for you. Lodge & Co., your source for sound business and tax services.
Thank you for listening to the WBT with Michael Lodge. Join us again tomorrow as we explore more about business and taxes. Follow us on iHeartRadio and go to our podcast website at www.wbtpod.com and listen to all of our podcasts and read our blogs.